Right, well, hello everyone. Well, I'm finally in the Nimbus HUEY in VR. I managed to flat screen run yesterday, but just didn't have too much time, so posted that up. A little bit of low level stuff, but nothing too drastic. But I've been itching to get into the VR, just have a look around this cockpit, and it's not a disappointment. Everyone's going to compare it to the DCS version. First glance, it's better, and the reason it looks slightly better is it's slightly softer. It doesn't look quite so cut out, and I think the wear on the controls, and if you have a look up there, the paneling, it really does look like flaky paint. This has been used type stuff. So brilliant, really good stuff. Love it. As you can see, no passengers, no door that side, put a door on my side, but all of that is configurable. You can do what you want with it. That's that. So as usual with the HUEY, bit of back stick, left pedal for takeoff, bring this collective up gently, and let's see what happens. A little bit more left pedal and a little bit more left stick. But I could tell from yesterday's flight on the flat screen, and the comparison I'm going to make is it felt like I was flying the Cabri. The Cabri is a lovely helicopter when you fly it slow and just use its own inertia and movement, and this felt the same, and the first goes with it, just felt natural, as it should be. Everything seemed to balance out nicely, the turns. At one period I could take my hand off the collective and put both hands on the sight clip, and just use the momentum of the helicopter to keep it going. So as usual with any of my stuff, and I'm not going to go too mad here. It's not a route, believe it or not. I know just this bit through the trees, but we just keep it fairly low, get a nice feel for it, hopefully. And I think that's one of the big things here, like compared to the MD500 we've all been playing around with. Oh, got to go up. What you're going to try and do, or what I feel I'm going to be doing, is trying to pre-plan, look further ahead, and keep movements less abrupt, maybe, and being a bigger helicopter, I would imagine the difference between the two would be enormous. You know, this is a big lump for its day. It's got big rotors that don't go particularly fast, and it's not endless on power, so you are going to be looking at doing more of the I'm going to say raising and lowering the nose for controlling your altitude and keeping the momentum going. You just drop down here and then up by pulling the nose up. Bit of left, right pedal, not left. And the view from inside, looking around, looking at the instruments. It's been a long wait, and I'm not disappointed. And you know, you'd want to get in this, and where I'd say the MD500, I've always said short run, wouldn't want to fly too far in it. You know, in this, even with the noise and the thump and everything, it's just so natural to fly. I think they've done an amazing job of the physics of this. One of the things I just tried on the flat screen yesterday was, you know, some abrupt stops and bringing it into the hover, and how it reacted when you slowed it down with the nose raised a bit too high, and managed to say an emergency auto. It wasn't in the flat screen version yesterday. I've got a button that I press and it causes an engine failure. The strange thing yesterday was that I hadn't realised I'd set up a zoom on the first part of my hot ass trigger, so it frightened the life out of me first of all, because I pulled the, well, I'm going to say the fire button on the joystick, which normally cuts the engine, and before it cut the engine it did a zoom in full screen and then cut the engine. So I haven't changed that yet, but I managed to get away with the auto. It was not very high, and even at that height still had enough inertia just about to save it. I dug the tail in and dragged it along the ground, but you know, it didn't burst into flame, so it was a good one. So let's get down low here, or a bit lower. I say, I've got no route planned out. I've just jumped in. Just want to just see what it feels like. I'm not going too fast. And it's lovely to fly. Now I'm using the my old Oculus Rift and the microphone from the Rift, which I don't always do, so I do apologise if there's any heavy breathing or gasps if something goes wrong. Hopefully the microphone will be working well enough. Normally I use a bigger one just mounted on the desk and have that nearby, but I thought I'd give it a go and see. And obviously one of the things I've probably sacrificed here is the wonderful sound that this HUEY will make, because I want my voice over the top. So one of the treats on a video where I'm not talking would be the lovely sound of this HUEY, which is on the flat screen version I did yesterday. You can really hear they've got the sound dead right. It is that lovely thump thump, and when you expect it, not all the time, when you load the blades up, when you do a turn that's slightly too sharp or pull the nose up a bit too abruptly, you can tell what the engine's doing by just literally listening to the sounds. And you know, there are dials down there which I've not looked at, but I'm sure in a longer flight I would be taking a little bit more concern over, but I'm hoping that I'd set this up for no mechanical failures or anything going on. There's a lot more to this helicopter for me to delve into. It's got a good menu system on the left hand side where you can change things like the doors. I thought I'd opened all the doors, looks like I hadn't opened the one on my side, and I'd taken all the crew out because I wanted it as light as possible. But you have all those options, and I think when we see some more paint schemes come through, I think I'd seen Josh, who'd done some great paint schemes on the MD500 had already got in there and had started tinkering. So I can only think that we're going to see some paint schemes for this coming up, civilian colours, maybe fire or rescue sort of type things. And as you can see, it just is so soft. It's a beautiful thing to fly. So well done, Nimbus. It was a long wait, and if they've got improvements to do, at first glance, I have to say I can't tell. I'm sure there's some better pilots out there, or more real life pilots out there that would actually know better, but it is so balanced and lovely. So there's our first run in VR. I say there wasn't anything very drastic going on, just my first impressions. I'll be planning out some low level routes so we can do some, I'm going to say low level heaven, as I call it, and really put it in its place, which is, you know, how I think the HUEY should be flown. I know its role in Vietnam from, you know, a great book called Chicken Hawk, one of the best books there is out there, and it wasn't always flying low and zooming through the trees. Oh, there's a wire there. No, would have lost it then. Its role was, you know, getting people in and out and that type of thing in mass, but our view of it, I suppose, as I put in the first video I did, the flat screen one, you know, I want to hear the Rolling Stones, you know, Paint It Black, or Fleetwood Mac, The Chain, as you're flying low down through the trees, and that's what it makes you feel like you want to do. You don't want to be high up looking at navigation stuff, you want to be low down tree hopping. Oh, let's drop that round into the sun. So I've probably babbled on long enough for our first VR flight, so let's drop it down into this very friendly looking field here. And it just turned brilliantly and lost its speed just right. Oh, actually look, there's a bit of a white mark over there, so let's have a go at dropping it in on that. Bit of left pedal, killing all the speed off, looking at the ground, keeping it going a little bit forward. Don't want to end up going too far backwards. Oh, a bit more left pedal. And down. Well, thanks very much for listening to me babble on as usual. Press the subscribe button if you like what you're seeing, and I just can't wait to do some real low level flights in this thing. It is a beautiful piece of programming, and not just programming, design, the artists that did it, they've done a fantastic job. I'm sure other people will do a much better in-depth preview of all the switches, all the knobs and dials and everything, but that's my first VR flight and I loved it. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it, and I'll be doing another one soon. Talk to you soon.